Good morning, grade 6. Our lesson today is reading. Today we are reading the selection of this unit, Unit 5, Week 2, Journey to Freedom. In this selection, we are focusing on the concept of this week, which is personal strength. And by personal strength, we don't mean the physical power or the power of muscles. No, we mean the power of mind, the power of thinking, the power of self-determination and self-confidence. And the genre of this week is historical fiction. The essential question is, how do people show inner strength? We're gonna read about a girl who discovers her inner strength when she's called upon to help people escaping slavery. And the genre of this week, as I told you, historical fiction. Historical means that the main plot or the main events or incidents in the story are taken from history. But fiction means the characters are not real, they are fictional. Journey to Freedom is the selection we're going to read this week. Before we start, what is the setting of this story? The setting is, number one, the time it is early summer 1851. And what about the place? It was a farm in the state of Massachusetts in America. And what is the historical background? During the time 1851, or in that year, slavery was spreading everywhere. The rich people or the powerful people in America were enslaving the poor people. And most of the time, those poor people were trying their best to escape slavery and to find their way to freedom. So they decided to leave America and head for Canada to have their freedom. What about the characters of our story? We have a 12-year-old girl called Abigail Parker and her father, Mr. Jonathan Parker. And also we have a young girl called Emma and an old lady called Nellis. Emma and Nellis were on their way to freedom. They escaped slavery in America. Mr. Jonathan and his daughter Abigail were helping Emma and Nellis to find their way to freedom in Canada. Of course, Mr. Jonathan Parker was using his farm. This place, as you see, it is Mr. Jonathan's farm. He was using this place as a station. Station means the people who are escaping from America or escaping from slavery in America, they were staying in that place for a period of time to escape the slave catchers during that time and continue their way to Canada to find their freedom. Before I start, this is the summary of our story. In the selection Journey to Freedom, Abigail Parker, 12-year-old girl, with her father, Mr. Jonathan Parker, made their farm a station for people on their way to Canada to escape from or to escape slavery in USA. Abigail and her father were expecting 4 people. This is in the story. They were expecting 4 people to arrive to help them escape slavery. But unfortunately, only 2, Emma, a young girl, and Nellis, an old lady, reached the farm. Of course, what about the other 2? The other 2 were locked because of a severe fever by the man who was helping them. And while you are reading the story, you will find a letter that was clarifying that point to Mr. Jonathan. After they arrived, of course, the old lady and the young girl, Emma, were very, very tired because of the rigors they were facing on their way to the farm. The other 2, as I told you, were locked because of being fevered. During their stay, Nellis and Emma, Miss Nellis, the old lady, got fevered severely due to the rigors of their journey. Of course, because of the state during the time, they couldn't send for a doctor to help Miss Nellis. It was a great risk to go out and ask for a doctor because the slave catchers will find them and their life may end. So, sending for a doctor was not the solution. But during the time, Emma told them that Miss Nellis told her about some herbs that they can be used to make a kind of tea to help her recover from fever. So, Emma said that they could cure Nellis with herbs. But who can go out to find these kinds of herbs? It was Abigail, the young girl. It was Abby who can go or who could only go and get the herbs. On her way to find the herbs, of course, she was very nervous, worried and frightened of being caught by slave catchers. But on her way to the river bank to find the herbs, she was all the time repeating and rehearsing the description of the herbs that Emma told her about the kind of herbs that she should have found at the time. But finally, she managed to find the herbs that Emma described exactly. Of course, the memory of Abigail's mother's death made her feel undaunted, made her feel courageous and fearless, and she wasn't frightened of anything. So she decided to help the old lady Nellis with the herbs. After that, or after she brought, of course here, as you can see, this is the picture where or when Abby was collecting the herbs that Emma told her to bring. As you can see on her face, she looked very nervous and worried and scared, but her inner strength made her decide to help the old lady. After she brought the herbs, of course, Abigail sorted them out, and she decided, or she started making the herbs tea that they would give to Miss Nellis to help her recover from the fever. After that, or after Nellis drank the tea, she got better and recovered well. After that, during the time, Abby learned something from Emma. She learned that when problems are shared, they have or they become halved. Means that when more than one person are thinking of the problem, of course, this can help reach or find out better solutions. At the end of the story, after Abigail or after Miss Nellis got recovered, Abigail wished them, of course, a safe journey to freedom to Canada, and also Miss Nellis and Emma pledged infinite gratitude to Mr. Jonathan and Abigail. And also Abigail thanked Emma for aiding her so in her own journey. What was Abigail's journey? It was her journey to find her inner strength, to overcome the sadness that she felt after her mother's death, and to overcome her fear and not being frightened of helping the others who were escaping slavery at all. So in this part, we learned about Abigail and how she found out about her inner strength. Of course, I'm going to upload the pages of the story for you with the highlighted parts you should focus on when you are rereading the story again on your own. Also, you will find some questions to be answered after you reread the whole story on your own. Don't forget that the setting of the story is a farm in Massachusetts, state in America, and during the year of 1850, the slavery period, and the characters were Emma, Nellis, Mr. Jonathan Parker, and his daughter Abigail Parker. Thank you very much. Reread the story again to help you better understand it.